Okay, we shall begin. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar. We wanted to organize these webinars in addition to the manuals that we provided and the information there, really to have a chance to take you through some of the main steps like building your booth and the registrations process, but also for exhibitors to have the opportunity to ask any of your questions or to clarify anything. So towards the end of the webinar, we will open up for some questions, but please feel free to use the chat in this Teams. My colleague will be monitoring this throughout, so we'll make sure to address your questions as soon as possible or in the Q&A. So here you can see some of the faces involved in running the exhibition at WCN. We are all based around Europe, in Italy, Belgium, France. My name is Charlie. I'm the BD manager at ISN. We have Michael, the events director, Paolo, who is managing industry symposia, so your main contact there, based in Italy, and Alex, who is working with me on all logistics for the exhibition, advert, sponsorship, who is based in Belgium, same as myself. And then also on the call, we have Cover. Cover is the company providing our technology for the event platform, including the exhibition. So we have Paul and Rudy from Cover joining us today. So as I said, this is the last webinar. We've organized a series of 3 webinars for our industry partners. The first webinar took place in December. It was recorded and is available on the manual if you want to take a look at that. It's only around 30 minutes long, but we go through building a booth in a bit more detail and at a slower pace. Today, we'll be focusing on the different ways that you can, as exhibitors, interact with delegates during WCN. We'll do a quick recap of the booth building, also touch on some of the metrics you can expect to receive as exhibitors. And then finally, we'll look at what are some of the upcoming deadlines. So this slide is really just to give an overview of what is happening each day at WCN as a starting point. Before the Congress sessions even begin, we have pre-Congress activities from the 21st to the 24th, such as the Raising the Curtain sessions, all of our courses and the policy forum. And then on February 25th is really when the main part of WCN kicks off. So scientific sessions, industry symposia, the exhibition, the poster area opens. And I can now confirm to you the exact time that the virtual exhibition will open. So that is 8 a.m. CET time on Friday, which equals 3 p.m. Malaysian time. So it's the same time that the first session takes place, is when the industry showcase opens. So for all exhibitors, you'll be able to preview how your booth looks like beforehand. We'll talk a bit about that later on. We provide you with the link so you can make sure everything is displaying correctly and you can see it in the live event platform itself, all ready for the opening of the industry showcase. So, of course, WCN is an international congress. So I'm just put this slide in here as a reminder of this, as it's an important consideration when we come to talk about the networking. So it's just sort of a reference for you. So the next part of the agenda of today's webinar is all about networking and how to interact with delegates at WCN. It's an essential element of WCN is the chance to connect and exchange with delegates around the world. So we're expecting around 4,000 virtual delegates coming from over 130 countries. So it's really the only Congress with this opportunity. So we have put a particular focus on the framework to network at virtual WCN. And I want to take you through a few ways to make sure that you are able to maximize this opportunity. So the main way that all delegates will interact with each other is through the networking page. This is a main menu item. It will be used a lot during the Congress. I'm going to show you actually how it looks. So you will click on the networking button and pull up the list of delegates. You can search the delegate directory and connect with other delegates at any time. The list is sorted alphabetically here. And you'll see the minimum shown in the list is the name, country, and photo. However, if you hover over their profile, you can have a more detailed look at their registration information. So if I have my chat here, you can message each other by text. But you can also invite them to a quick video call. In the whole list, feel free to just search for any keywords, the name, company, or country to bring up somebody if you know what you're looking for. Otherwise, there are a number of ways that you can filter this list. So first, you can filter by online or offline. And then you can filter by a profile. So area of activity, professional interest, and practice settings. This is all completed by the delegate when they register for WCN, and they're able to update it also on their profile online when they are in the Congress. So these two slides, I believe, just recap that with some screenshots. The next way is the live chat on your booth. So depending on which booth you have booked, you can activate the live chat function on your showcase. This allows delegates and exhibitors to chat when on your booth directly. So how this works is there's a number of live chat websites that we can link or integrate with your booth listed here. So you can either have it not activated, live chat, ClickDesk, Help Crunch, or Talk. And we've included multiple options in case you know maybe your company is already using one of these. If not, and you do want to make use of the live chat, then we recommend using Talk, the Talk option. It has a free subscription available. So I'll take a few moments to explain some of the basics of Talk. But there is a how-to guide available on the industry showcase manual that goes through step-by-step with screenshots as well, if you want to look back at that. So using Talk will activate a chat button, which appears here on the bottom right of your booth. The first thing you would need to do is create a free account on www.talk.to. You can use any email here. It doesn't necessarily have to be one that you've used during the booth building process. In your Talk profile, once you've set it up, if you locate the box called Direct Chat Link and copy the highlighted code into the box when you're building your form, and that will make the link. So that is it. At a basic level, at this stage, a delegate can now go to your booth and chat with you. You just need to be logged into your Talk account in a different tab to see the chats and reply. So as I said, you are ready to go at that stage. The next two slides, and then we'll finish with the Talk tutorial, I wanted to quickly share with you some other cool features that you can use with Talk that they offer. Here's the main menu that you will see when you log in. And I've just highlighted where you can find your current chats, who is viewing the page. I'll skip to the next slide. I'll be sharing these slides afterwards for you to look at. You can upload a customized widget. So the icon that is on the bottom right, you can change that to anything you want. You can set it up so that anybody on your booth, for example, for 10 seconds or more, it will pop up with a message for them, and you can customize that message. Like, hello, do you need any help? Talk to us. So I do recommend, if you wanted to explore for 10 or 15 minutes what Talk can do, they have some of their own tutorials on their website, which are quite helpful. Like I said, these are all optional. As long as you copy that code in, you will be able to chat. So another way for delegates to interact with you is the leave a message button, which is a button that's on all booths, 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star. And a delegate can send you a message with their details. So just like the pop-up shows here, the message is sent to the main contact that you have provided in the booth form. So quite simple. I'll just show you how that looks on the booth. So up here, top right, and these are the fields to fill in. When you're building your form, I'll show you where to put that in. It's on the first page, so this contact is where the emails will be sent to. Just to keep that in mind. Okay, so a step further to this is delegates being able to book a meeting with any one of your booth personnel. This is only available for certain exhibition levels. So we're on a screenshot here of a live booth displaying the booth contacts that you would have had uploaded. And you'll see it's possible for Julie to click create appointment. And this opens up the pop-up, allowing the delegates to book. So how this is actually set up, the first thing is to create Julie's profile on Calendly. It's very easy to use. The account is free to set up. This slide shows where to find your key, so your special code, and that's the key that you would upload to your booth form. On Calendly, they have some extra features, so you can select which times that you want to be shown as available for meetings. You can select the time zone. You can even link it to your Office 365 so that it will automatically spot free moments in your calendar and show them as available for delegates. So again, this is optional. It's only activated if you copy in your Calendly code here when you're building your booth. And again, I'll just show you on the form where that is. So on the second page, when you're adding your booth personnel, the Calendly key can be found here. And on the live booth, this is how it would work. Okay. So one of the last, second to last ways for the networking options. As I said, networking is a key aspect of WCN. And so to facilitate these connections, we are organizing, in addition to the program, a series of various networking sessions during the Congress. They're scheduled in between scientific sessions for about 30 minutes usually. And we'll have a variety of topics that delegates can look through, find something that they're interested in, and and then join an informal discussion room with other delegates. So the topics are anything from scientific or research to career help, and they will have an expert in the room to sort of guide the conversation. These are just really great ways to interact with delegates, almost like a pre-made conversation starter. The format is interactive, so you have a little avatar where you can move up to groups of people and join their conversations. If you were at WCN'21, you might have seen these. They were really great and the delegates really enjoyed them. So I definitely recommend that you and your colleagues attending WCN check out the agenda, make use of these rooms. The agenda will be online in the coming weeks. And lastly, I wanted to include the social media wall because it is a way to interact with delegates during the Congress and even before the Congress begins. It is live now. Any posts or chats happening on social media using the event hashtag ISNWCN are collected to this wall. So feel free to arrange your own posts using the hashtag and track this during WCN. On top of all the delegates posting their own posts, we have a dedicated group of healthcare professionals from our ISN education team who ensure Congress coverage also. So the next part of the webinar, we will look at the metrics that will be available to exhibitors at WCN. Before I pass over to Paul to demonstrate the live report, I'll give a brief overview. We have the overall WCN report. So at the end of WCN, we collect all of the information about the Congress, including delegates and their demographics, the program statistics, poster statistics, everything listed here, and share it with you. The report doesn't contain any specific information on individual delegates. For this, we have the live reporting, which is part of the package for 2-star and 3-star exhibitors. So Paul is going to explain and show you how all that works.
All right. Thank you, Charlie. I'm going to share my screen. I hear an echo of myself, so I don't know whether, Charlie, that's because you're...
Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing.
If you can briefly mute. Okay, so let me share my screen and I will show you the website with the Congress platform, which is under construction. So I'm saying this with a big disclaimer. You will all see the platform as it is now. There's still lots of works going on onto it. But I want to briefly show you how you can really leverage the communication and the messaging system and delving into traffic that you can analyze on your virtual booth. This is the main page of the platform, and as last year, we will have navigation on the left here, taking you to the industry showcase. And here you see a lot of unfinished booths. One is also still under construction, but good enough to use for this demo, the one from ISN. A test booth that we've made. So by going here, the system, I went there and has made a log of my visit there. We will create a page for every exhibitor that will have a login that will take you to a page that looks like this. And you see here, it's the booth of the ISN. And you see that there are 27 scans. When I click on that, I can actually see a list of the individual scans, but you don't see 27 here. There's a couple of reasons for that. These scans have been made by only a few people, and you see here Mr. Rudy Stans, who is also in this call, who's a colleague of mine. Simba is one of our developers, and I have visited the stand also, as you just saw. But there is something, when you come into a stand, you did not see that dialogue because I visited this before, but in the very initial phase, there is a pop-up that asks participants whether they want to share their contact details with the organizer of the booth. That only pops up the very first time you visit, because it doesn't want to constantly nag people, but then it retains that information. In my record, I have opted not to show and not to share my information with the booth organizer. So therefore, you don't see my name showing up here. In the record of Rudy, I'm logged in this browser, as you see, as Rudy. I have opted to to show that. And as you see, we've been to this stand, and you can see here that on the 11th, on 10:21, which is Kuala Lumpur time, that's how this will show up, Rudy has accessed the booth. So on this page, whether, if Rudy would access this again, you would see an additional line here. You can always see in this report how many there are. And these are the uniques. Those are the unique individuals of those who have decided to share their contact details. So taking you to the report, you can see that. And by the way, you can export this report later on to do any marketing to those people by this export button here, which will collect that into an Excel file. But you can keep this page open during the Congress at any time and really monitor as good as in real time who has come to your stands. And then you can use the live networking feature to look them up. Now I'm logged in as Rudy, so I'm briefly going to take another browser window here where I'm logged in as Paul. And now I can look up Rudy and I could send a message to him. So here by searching for Rudy, we have another person who is speaking. So maybe if you can mute your mic. So here I have Rudy, and now I can initiate a chat to him. So you can do a similar thing by mining the visitors, letting them know, hey, we noticed that you've been to our stand. Can we maybe schedule a call or do whatever? So you can use the system to really individual communicate with visitors to your stand. That's pretty much it, Charlie, that I wanted to show.
Thank you.
So I'll stop sharing the screen so you can take the control again. Hold on a second. Yeah.
Okay, can you see my screen again?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay, so the next part of the webinar will just be a recap of how to build your virtual booth. There are two important materials that you'll need to have, which is the manual and the industry portal. The manual is where you can find all of the instructions and the specifications. Please do review this manual as a first step. So it's laid out, if you have a one-star booth booked, you can go straight to that tab and you don't have to look at the other information. It also has the info about your registrations, the metrics that we provide that Paul has just gone over, networking, any additional advertising you've booked as well. So if you have any questions, this is really the first place to find information quickly. The industry portal is where you would then upload all of your booth materials once you've prepared them. It's also where you can provide your registration names. So there are three different tiers of exhibition: 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star. 2-star and 3-star booths have this visual. And for 1-star booths, in that place, you instead have a banner that you can provide. If you joined us last year, this is a slightly different procedure with the booth visual. It's been updated to improve the experience and the speed. So how it works, I'll try to explain here, but Paul, please jump in if you want to clarify anything. A delegate will click on one of these red dots here, and it is a link to the PDFs that you have uploaded or the videos that you have uploaded. The visual needs to be created by the exhibitor. We have provided the Photoshop template, so you have all of the specifications all ready to go. You or your designer will need to take the template and adapt it with your own company branding. So the design is completely up to you. It can be made to look like a booth or something more abstract. The important thing is that the red circles here do not move. So you need to make sure that your design makes sense for that. So if they wanted to click on a PDF here, I think it's probably better to show you some examples here. So these are from other congresses with the same sort of technical setup. So you can see what's being done here.
You're fully correct, Charlie. You've done well in explaining it. And as you can see, you can change the entire background. Basically, from a designer's point of view, the only restriction you have to deal with is where these individual media are displayed. That's what you need to respect from the template. Other than that, the branding and the full layout is completely yours. And the uploaded PDFs are imposed on the picture in the application.
Okay, so I will take a few moments to go through the booth building form. So in the industry portal, if you go to the industry showcase button, the first page will ask you to input your company details and logo, so the basic information. All of these details will show in your booth. I've just pre-filled it for this webinar. The next page, you'll be able to display a certain number of booth personnel depending on your package. So these are the different fields that you can fill in for that. So name, title, location, experience, and the Calendly key that we went over. So here on the next page is where you can upload the booth background image in a PNG format, and also where you can set the parameters for who can access your booth and disclaimer messages. So if you need to add a message, for example, for internal compliance, this booth is intended for US healthcare professionals only, you can add this here. You can also set the access to actually block them from coming into the booth if they've not selected that they're a healthcare professional. It's up to you how you want to set those levels of access, whether you want to do that, actually block them, or just show a message that they have to agree to. The next page is where you upload your PDFs. For each PDF, the form is going to ask for a PNG file and either a file, the actual file, or a link to a video. These display below the booth and also as links on the booth visual. So probably better to show you. They'll all display below here as so. When you click on one, it will open up to the PDF. But when you click on one here, it will also open up to the PDF. And then you can save your booth and preview. So you can go back, review, and check that everything looks okay, or make edits. So taking a look at some of the important deadlines coming up. We are here at January 11th. You can see in the coming weeks that there are many of the advertising components are due. If you can carefully check the section advertising in the manual for all of the specifications and deadlines of these, specific to exhibitors only are the ones highlighted in yellow here. So that includes making sure you have your company reps badges set up by February 15th on the industry portal, and that your booth is prepared and in its final format by February 21st. So we will be sending out a direct link to your booth only in the live platform before that date, so that you're able to log in and see it in its real format. So please reach out to us if you have any questions. We'll do our best to reply as soon as possible. It's an important couple of weeks. We're really looking forward to putting on a very successful exhibition and Congress in general. So I've listed here the best ways to reach us and get help during the actual Congress days. So you can take a note of that. And then finally, some screenshots of the platform. You saw a little bit of it through our demos. The team is still working hard to finalize these designs, but I just wanted to give you a preview again. So if you would like some information clarified or just repeated, now is the time. We're happy to take any of your questions. Let me stop presenting. So if you have any questions, if you can start with your name and company, that would be really helpful. I haven't been manning the chat, so. The design template for download is an Illustrator AI file. Is it possible to get a PSD file? I turn to Paul or Rudy.
It actually is a PSD file. So yes. So it's a Photoshop template.
So another question, how do we access the metrics website?
Yes, you will be sent a login to the page that I showed you where you can see those immediate real-time stats. So you will have an individual login to that page. If you have more than one stand, which was the case with some companies last year, you will have one page and you will see two lines in there representing both of the individual booths. And when you drill through to them, you'll see the traffic with a time and date stamp of each visit of each individual who has indicated that they want to share their contact details. So you also know that people who appear in that list have given the permission for you to receive their contact details.
So how many booth holders can access the account at once? I assume that's for the metrics website.
There are no limitations to how many people can have that screen open. It basically is one login, but you can open that up simultaneously in multiple browsers. So you can share that with colleagues.
And then a question from Lisa, for a 2-star booth, if we choose to show 2 or 3 PDFs, is that an issue? And can we determine how they are placed? So if you show only 2 PDFs and you have 3 available to upload, I would suggest either it will show one of the red prompts will not lead to anything. So I think the best option there is to upload a copy of one of them. So to have 2 of the same PDFs and one different one. Unless, Paul, you have another suggestion.
No, not right now. We could inquire whether when nothing is uploaded, whether the link with the red dot can be omitted. But right now, honestly, I do not know. We've never had that request, but we can look into it.
And can we determine how they are placed? There will be, depending on, so PDF 1 will be in one of the certain red prompt circles. So I will work that out with the technicians and maybe upload that to the manual so you can see exactly where before you start the upload process.
But by the way, you can also see that in the Photoshop template. The Photoshop template represents a full HD page, which is then scaled in the browser to the specifications of the window where it's shown. But it's always going to be relative to that full HD page. And in the template, the position of those parts where the media show up they are locked. That's exactly what the template is for. So you can draw the background according to that.
Okay, we have a few more minutes if you have any more questions. You can also do by video or use the chat. A question from Jim from NetPro. We have only received the AI file and not the PSD file. Can you send us a PSD file? So we'll look into that.
Yes.
Actually, since the second comment there, it should be a Photoshop file. So thanks for highlighting. We'll have a look at that and update it. A question, what are the dimensions of the video thumbnails? So in the booth visual, when you open the Photoshop file, it should be in different layers. So when you click on the box, it will have this the dimensions usually on the top bar. I don't know them off the top of my head. I can find out after the webinar, but that's the quick way to see them.
Yes, and when you go through the form, you can they're indicated in each of the upload buttons. So if you go through once and don't fill in anything, you can use the form as much as you want, and it will only alter the new information that you input. So if you go through and you don't put anything in, you don't do any harm.
A question if there will be a recording for this meeting. Yes, we are recording it, and then we upload it to the manual along with a copy of the slides. We just need 1 or 2 days to process that, and then it should be available. So the deadline for these materials, for the booth materials, as long as everything is finalized by February 21st, then that's fine. With the booth, we ask it to be finalized by February 21st to make sure that it's all ready to go in the coming days. But we wouldn't block access to the booth building form. So you are able to go on there. If you spot maybe a mistake, you can go in there and edit it during the live Congress days, and it should update very quickly. Also, if you want to change some of the content that you have on your booth, the platform remains open until May 31st. So if you want to go in and change something so that the info is more relevant or current, then you're able to do that. So a question, is the physical booth manual included in the industry manual? They are separate. So the information in the manual right now is just for building your virtual booth. The physical booth is, we are managing that with our partners AF in Malaysia, and we're going to be releasing that physical booth manual very shortly. Okay, if there are no more questions, I think we can wrap up. Just as I say that, one more question comes. Is it possible to add a link to the company website in the booth? Yes, the first page of the booth building form, there is a field for the website. That displays then at the bottom. So when you're a delegate viewing your booth, it displays on the bottom, sort of lower down. For the PDFs, when accessed through clicking the red dot, When the PDF is displayed, are they clickable and open in a new browser? So are they, when you open a PDF on the booth visual, does it come up as a pop-up or will it open in a new browser? I think is the question. You're on mute, Paul.
Oh, sorry, it opens as a pop-up over the rest of the site. It's a modal that pops up.
Okay, the webinar is scheduled to finish at 45 past, so we'll do this 1 minute early and we can finish up here. If you have any more questions, please feel free to email me. But thank you so much for joining. I hope it was helpful. We'll upload the webinar to the manuals as soon as possible. But yeah, have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.